On behalf of Global CEO Magazine, welcome to another leadership dialogue conversation. So today I'm really excited. We have two nice gentlemen to have this conversation. So the company, even though this is not a company kind of a promotion, but it's Amana Takaful Insurance. In that, Mr. Gehan Rajapaksa, he's the CEO of Amana Life Insurance. At the same time, Amana Takaful General Insurance CEO, Mr. Shiva Karthikan. The two fascinating synergistic combination that itself gives us a story to explore. So this is what leadership dialogue. The format of this conversation is about, always we like to start with them rather than we are just telling that, asking from them their journey thus far. I might start with Gehan, with you.
Thank you, Samantha, and I'd like to thank Global CEO Magazine for this invitation. Just as an introduction, I might just basically say that I studied at Trinity College, Kandy, right throughout my career. Then I went to the Colombo University, did a PIM postgraduate degree. Then during the time we were in campus, that was the time in 1989 there were JVP problems. So while I was at campus, we joined Eagle Insurance as management trainees. From there, I was with Eagle until 2012. Eagle Insurance itself changed from Eagle Insurance to Zurich Financial to Aviva and the present AIA. In 2012, I took a break and I sort of left the present AIA and joined LOLC Insurance as the CEO there for the life and general businesses. And after 3 years there, I left and I joined Amana Takaful in 2017 with the challenge of transforming the company that was required, and that was the mandate from the board. So that's where we are at the moment.
Thank you, Gehan. That's a very crisp start, like I think we can explore further. With the same sentiment, may I turn to Karthik? You prefer to call Karthik. Over to you, Karthik.
About myself, well, I have very modest beginning to my life and career. I did all my studies in India and then came back to Sri Lanka in 2004 and joined Rajapaksa Insurance as a management trainee. Followed the advices given to me at that time by my superiors, that is to qualify myself in insurance. So I completed my chartered insurance diploma, advanced diploma, and also the fellowship in the Insurance Institute. I went on to kind of upgrade myself in terms of all the skills that is required in the insurance industry. Continued for 11 years and moved out of Janashakti as an AGM technical. I had a short stint, I would say, for 6 years overseas in Qatar, where I was heading a department, and then came back to Sri Lanka, joined LOLC, heading underwriting and operations for 3 years, and then had this opportunity of joining Amana as the CEO. Very shortly, it's been under 2 years since I took over Amana Takaful as the CEO. Again, with a lot of aspirations from the board and personally for me as well to prove myself in this role.
Thank you, Karthik, as well as Gehan. I think now the stage is set for us to explore this leadership dialogue. Once again, so may I turn to Gehan, starting from you. What is your leadership philosophy, your thinking, your applications? So may I ask like that to begin with?
So Samantha, I'm not sure whether I can use like a philosophy, but I can just explain in very simple language that for me, leadership is being simply truthful. And truthful in this sense, truthful in your desire to make a change, truthful in the actions you take, truthful and sincerity in the strategies you implement. So essentially, as a leader, for me, I think I would respect, I look forward to, I appreciate people who are sincere. You get what you sort of see. Kind of leadership is what my philosophy is. so that there is no pretense, there is no performance, really. And that is something that I practice. So as far as I am a leader, or I'm sort of, give leadership to a team, my team knows exactly what they can expect from me and how I will react in particular situations. So there is predictability in how I engage with them. The second aspect of this is that I have a very clear vision with regard to where a company or a country or something should get to. And I am able to, I like to break it down into simple, small steps. Otherwise, these things can tend to become very complicated. So take something, break it down into small compartments and small strategies, if you want to call it, and then just communicate that overall direction to the team. The whole premise of how I lead a team is that I believe that people are the people who are the people, or your team is the one that will carry that strategy forward. And my objective is to give leadership to that team.
Gehan, very intriguing. So you have put it to truthfulness as well as simple steps. I think quite simple, but probably I can explore in the next round of with another question. With that, Karthik, I like to pose the same question what I asked from Gehan. So what is your thinking? What is your application? What is your philosophy of leadership?
Well, for me, leadership is something which I actually tend to follow what my superiors have taught me and reflect upon what I know more to my juniors, right? So, leadership by example, I would say. So, I tend to practice whatever I have learnt still, and then I try to inculcate the same habits into my people as well, in terms of upskilling themselves, in terms of having high levels of integrity, because we are in the financial services business, and taking extra effort in whatever we do. That's what is most important. I think that today's generation, what they feel is that they need to be challenged quite frequently. So giving them tasks, showing them the path as to what is in store for them in the future, those are things I kind of try to do, and I go to the ground level to do that. I try to mingle with people as much as possible, understand their background, understand what they aspire to do, and kind of motivate them towards going towards their goal, giving them the right direction in whichever way possible, so that we go to the next step. At Amana, of course, it's a totally different journey, wherein I had to kind of unlearn and then learn things, because it's a 25-year-old company. We had certain practices, cultures in place, so it's not easy to change everything immediately. So change management is also important. So what I did is kind of first understood where we stand, what is most necessary for the company, what are the priorities that is required right now, and put those priorities to each of the people and try to bring about those changes. So that's what I'm currently engaged in. I hope I would be successful in the journey.
In my conversation, both Karthik and Gehan, I was eagerly waiting to ask this question. The reason is, even though it's not ethnically bound by, this is a very synergistic kind of a moment, as I said at the very outset. Gehan, you are being I would say Sinhala, so Karthik, you are in Tamil, but you are working for this I would say ethnically pursued context in such a wonderful manner of kind of a managing and leading and driving towards the next level of the growth. In that sense, Karthik, would you like to share, you have come to closer to my area, how do you manage this diverse people from a leader's point of view, this people management aspect of yours? May I start with Karthik this time?
As I mentioned earlier, since I did all my education in India and also having overseas experience, mingling with multicultural people, multilinguistic people has never been a challenge, to be honest. One of the grade 7 subjects which I learned, or the lessons that I learned in India, was the strength of India is unity in diversity, right? I believe Sri Lanka should also adopt this approach. In the company, of course, we are strongly promoting this. We do not see as to what is the background in terms of religion of any person while recruiting anybody. We only look at their skill set, right? So what we see is what are his or her capabilities, and we are able to bring about that change within the organization, I would say quite successfully over the past 3-4 years. It's not something which I brought in, it has been there in the organization even before I joined, but I think now we are even because of my shall I say ability to interact with people with all 3 languages, that's been a plus for me in terms of getting along with people and bringing about and communicating. I think the main factor here is the communication part of it. So communicating the things that we want to do in a more effective manner, we have been able to do that. I think any change, if required to be done, if it is well communicated, it will be well received by the person. The problem here is the communication, and as long as you have the communication going transparently and able to hear what the other person's story is, if you're able to dwell on that and understand that situation as well, putting yourself in their shoes, you could definitely manage these challenges quite easily.
So Samantha, that's an interesting question, because actually when I joined, the mandate was to transform the company from a fairly narrowly defined company. I mean, Amana Takaful for the last 25 years was like defined as by the Muslims, for the Muslims, kind of in that context. And I think the board made the decision that we need to open up the company, and that change was part of the strategy. Now, for me, that strategy has to be shouldered by the people, and that's the driving force. At a holistic level, I basically had a vision of creating a lovely little Sri Lanka within the company. And let me explain that by saying a company that is ethnically harmonious, a company that rejoices or celebrates in the diversity of all the ethnic groups. And I think this overall thing resonated with all the people who were within the company. And 2 things that we discussed with the management is a commonality of everyone's aspirations, commonality of what everyone wants to achieve, commonality with regard to the desires, the career aspirations of all people. That is one component, and that was a broad base of agreement. The second thing was that the diversity itself should be celebrated. And there is so much cultural celebration that we can make and enrich our lives. So I think those 2 things are binding for people when they to make a change. And we have been very successful. We have had no resistance. In fact, everyone has embraced the change. And I find that to be very fulfilling at the moment. So I think in terms of it's not a challenge. Actually, I find that people have embraced it, and the company is progressing rapidly towards that change. And today, Amana Takaful is a very different company to what it was a couple of years ago.
So Gehan, deeply touch both Karthik and Gehan. Thank you very much for those synergistic environment. I think that's what Sri Lanka requires, as well as you are showcasing and you are replicating that in that. I like that word, mini version of the Sri Lanka's national picture you are going to project inside the company. So with that, those wonderful sentiments will, anyway, time is precious. We'll go to our final round of thoughts. As both of you are aware that the Global CEO magazine point of view, these many corporates, leaders, other CEOs, and your contemporary colleagues are all watching this. So in that sense, as a CEO, would you like to share some thoughts overall from a strategy, business, the challenges, how you are navigating these all difficult times into the next level? From that, I would like to start with Gehan once again. What are your final thoughts and what advices you like to give as take-home messages?
So Samantha, I think if I might just offer my experience with regard to Amana Takaful, I think the strategy was in the context of the circumstances of the company. I think in this particular case, here was an opportunity for us to, a challenge for us to change the company and establish a different business model. In this context, I think what I did was just to set up the business model first, then break that business model down into a strategy, and I would like to say that that strategy was very simple to be able to communicate. And I mean, I can basically articulate Amana Takaful life's strategy into a half a A4 paper. I can just explain it and I can communicate it to everyone down the line, and everyone in the company understands it. Right down to the advisor level, they understand what are the key variables. So I can explain that strategy down in very simple terms. So that is the strategy and the driving and the implementation part of it. In the context of a multi-ethnic environment, we also had the challenge of bringing in new ethnic groups into the company, which we have done. And there, the thing is to be able to be very sensitive with regard to the nuances of the cultural fit. And in this particular case, I spend a lot of time in the branches on the ground to ensure that, these things, everything is fit, that everything is smooth. For example, I mean, I just give you an example. When we play anything to do with the company or even a piece of like a promotion, I ensure that we have representation images from the north, south, east, west, center, so that people feel belong and they see themselves represented in the company. I think that empathy on the ground is critically important, particularly when you are trying to merge cultures.
Right. In terms of takeaways for the CEOs, I would say that I'm still too young to talk about being a CEO and what are the key takeaways, but I can give a few words of thoughts for the people who are aspiring to become CEOs. Right? When this opportunity came through, actually the decision was not mine to take up this role, it was my wife's decision. Right? So there is always somebody who is around you, who is your well-wisher, who is able to take a much more decisive, a decision which I believe would be decisive for your career, right? So I think it's always good to listen to people, get their views in terms of what is your strength, what is your weakness, understand yourself better, right? I think that's one of the key takeaways for any CEO, to understand yourself, what is your strength and weaknesses, and work towards your weaknesses. And also I think in terms of taking up challenges, I think today we see all the youngsters doing different things, be it in YouTube or in all the other social media platforms, marvelous things that they're doing. I mean, things that we achieved in 50 years, they're able to do it when they are in the 20s and 25s, right? So they are extremely, they're able to take up new challenges. I think the potential, they're able to unleash their potential much better in today's context. So as CEOs, rather than be sticking to our stereotype that if we need to have a head of the department, he has to be of this age set, this one, I think we might have to also take some chances, some risks at some point in time, in terms of giving opportunities for people who are new, who have new ideas, and who are able to do things much better. I think that's something I felt that as a country also we need to experiment a bit in terms of moving away from the stereotype ways of doing things to testing new stuff. At Amana, of course, we have been quite innovative in doing things. Recently we had a tie-up with another company to provide telemedicine services to all our clients, which is something which is novel. Normally you don't club a medical benefit to a motor insurance. We did it as the first in the country, and it has been a huge success for us. So like that, I believe innovation can keep us going. And as CEOs, I think it's our duty to ensure that we motivate our teams to innovate, come up with new ideas, new things, and that way we can take the company to the next step towards success.
Fascinating. Gehan, I think this one-page strategy is quite intriguing. I'm sure that's a wonderful concept among other good things that you have said. At the same time, Karthik, so you want to break stereotypes, promote innovation, but as you mentioned that it's nice to have a life mentor, so like it can be a spouse or anyone. That's quite fascinating. So on behalf of Global CEO Magazine, let me take this opportunity to extend a big thank for both of you, Mr. Gehan Rajapaksa as well as Mr. Shiva Karthikan, for this leadership dialogue. I'm sure we can explore further, we can take it forward, and with your innovations and upcoming business opportunities, probably we can meet again to discuss those success stories. Thank you once again. Have a great day.